Hi everyone, my name is Rachel de Guzman. I am your Sports on Purpose host. On this vlog, we will be spreading awareness on the most valuable life lessons learned and wisdom gained from playing, coaching, and participating in sports by bringing the most fascinating conversations with some of the most inspirational and insightful sports personalities in the country. Good day everyone, welcome to another episode of Sports on Purpose. Today our guest is an experienced marathoner, a running event organizer, and an entrepreneur. He constantly writes meaningful blogs about his running journey, which has inspired a lot of people to stay active and fall in love with running as well. Without further delay, our guest for this episode is none other than the running shield himself, Mr. Patrick Concepcion. I'm so excited to have him in my blog. Grabe. How are you doing, sir? Or how are you doing, Patrick?
Yeah. Hi to everyone, all your TV viewers. Hi. How are you? Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon. So, sir, I would normally begin my interview with a quote.
Okay.
So this quote is from Dean Carnegie. He's the ultramarathon. He's the, I think, most famous ultramarathoner in the world. He ran this 50 marathons in 50 consecutive days. I'm sure you know him and you're aware of what he has accomplished. So he said, running is about finding your inner peace. And so is life well lived. What do you think about this quote?
I'm very familiar with Dean. I could never really say his last name, Carnivis. I can never really,
yeah, me too. I was just guessing.
Yeah, it's very tongue twisting. But I basically on his quote, you see, I think running is basically a journey of life. You understand yourself, you get to know yourself. You know, when you run almost every day, you put in the mileage. I believe it changes you. It makes you understand who you are and who you are not. And because of this, I believe this makes you a better person. You discover yourself, you get to know yourself more. And when you discover yourself, that's when you start to understand your journey in life.
You put it together so well, and it's just, yeah, we just started and my mind is already blown. it's mind blowing. Thank you the way you put it. Thank you, Patrick. You started running in 1980 in Vancouver, Canada, and then you mentioned something in your interview that you were overweight back then. Yes. But this is what's really interesting. But you didn't actually start running to lose weight.
Yes.
Okay, but because this is just an activity that you really enjoy. Could you tell us more about that?
Okay. I'll tell you my journey. It was May of 1980. I was living in Vancouver, Canada. I was 16 years old, I believe, and I was about 220, 225 pounds. Kung gusto mong sabihin baboy, ako ang baboy. I was really obese, no? So what happened? It was on a Sunday. I was watching TV in like I said, in Vancouver, and the Vancouver International Marathon came out. So I was watching, and I said, "Uy, this is a very interesting." And I liked how the people running. So I said, "Subukan ko nga." So the next day, I bought myself a pair of running shoes, and I tried it, and I was in love with running.
Wow! Straight away, you fell in love with running. That's amazing. I don't hear that kind of like connection to running or that kind of story every day. I mean, in terms of running, this is actually the first time that I heard a person say that they just fell in love with running straight away after, just doing a couple of. Wow.
That was for me when I took that first step. I said, "Oh, this is what I want to do the rest of my life." So that's how
my. So what part of running gives you the most joy?
and I also wanted to mention, is when I started running, it was not because to lose weight. That was never in my head. I just wanted to enjoy it, the high I get, etc. That was the whole purpose of it. Siyempre, of course, when you run almost every day, ayan, the weight would go down. So parang that was the benefit I got, but that was not the goal. The goal was to experience the joy of running.
Wow.
And that's it.
Yeah, engaging in the process, though not focusing too much on like losing weight. Like I think most people would tend to focus on when that's why they get frustrated so easily. And then as soon as they get frustrated, they just stop the activity because they think it's not effective or they think they're just wasting their time. But what you did was you really engage yourself in the process and really enjoyed the moment. I mean, whenever you run, that's amazing. I also read from your Bull Runner interview, the one that you had with your brother. Okay, your brother said that you inspired him to become a runner as well, and I can totally say that he really looks up to you. And he really speaks highly of you. What do you think he witnessed from your journey that inspired him to become a runner as well?
Well, I think because, you see, my brother Ton, we organized the Condura Skyway Marathon. Yeah. Now, basically, as he saw my journey as a runner, he would see me run almost every day. He would see me put in the mileage. I did not really care kung may baha, may bagyo, or whatever. I mean, no excuse. Running was just a way of life for me. And I think he saw that. He saw the discipline. So I believe he also, took where I began. And yan, we became a partner, especially for the Condura Skyway Marathon. Yeah.
Wow. So could you just give us like certain examples or any recollection of events that justify that running helped you establish a better relationship with your brother?
Oh, okay. With my brother and I, we share a lot of business ideas and so on, but it was really the bonding of running that got us together. So there would be a few times we would run together. He was very busy also, so we would run when we get together in the beach or in Dumaguete, etc., and we'd talk about life and so on.
Wow.
And this made us bond together. Of course, my father also was our inspiration, so it was a bonding with us, the family. That's how it happened.
Wow. Since you already mentioned your father, we're actually going to go to that. You mentioned also in one of your interviews that your Mr. Raul T. Concepcion is the original runner in the family. Wow. And has the greatest influence in your running journey. So during one of the Condura runs, he got injured, right? Due to, I'm sorry about that, due to the poor quality of the road he was running on. And he ended up with a nasty cut on his eye that had to be stitched. But this is what's really amazing and fascinating about the situation. But despite the unlucky situation, he refused to stop and seek medical help and still run to the finish line. That's unbelievable. He's such a tough guy. It's an incredible feeling to have such a positive role model in your life, right? So what other things do you admire most about your dad, aside from being a tough guy?
Well, my dad, I admired him. He's a very hardworking person. He loves what he does. He's always taught us the value of hard work, attention to detail, and doing things right. This he passed on to our business legacy. Now, with regards to running, just to share with you, my dad was when I say he's the original runner, is because when I was 7 years old, I would go with him to the park. He would run. He would be wearing those. I don't think so. You were born yet, but he would wear this white shorts na may tela sa left and right side of the shorts. That's where you wipe your pawis. That was the uso before. And he would run around the park, and we lived in Forbes Park. He would run around the park, and I would watch him. I think I was only about 7 years old. I would watch him do his rounds, and he was wearing. That time you have to realize also there was no such things as ASICS running shoes, Nike. Wala yan. There was nothing that he was wearing this cheap Bata shoes that I think he bought in Artimar. But he was determined he'd do about 10, 15 runs, and I would watch him every day or every other day. And that slowly got ingrained in my soul. Kung kaya, if my dad can do it, maybe I can in the future. And that's what happened. After several years, in 1980, I started running. He is really the original Condura Skyway Marathon man.
Wow. That's an amazing story. Still so fresh in your mind, right? The way you said it. I was trying to imagine it. That must be so meaningful to you, witnessing your dad running around and, idolizing him. Impressive. How are you similar to each other?
Similarities. I think, okay, my dad is really a hard-working man, and maybe I am not that hard-working as him, but compared with one thing I got within is the determination to do the best in what he can. Always strive for number one, and that he did with work, and that's what I do with running. Now, you may not exactly reach your goal in life, but at least you have a goal. And if you stay focused and determined, at least if you don't reach it and it doesn't become reality, at least you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I tried. And that for me, panalo ka na.
Wow. I can imagine you guys like in a dining table talking about these things and hearing so many words of wisdom from him every now and then. Yeah. Wow. So needless to say, running is something you really do enjoy. So how does running mold you into what you've touched on this for a little bit earlier? How does running mold you into a better version of yourself?
Okay. I think, when you run almost every other day or every day, you start to build up discipline, a determination, love for what you like to do. There are good days. There are good days when you are basically flying, nothing exists. There's in that feeling where no pain, you are just basically flying and enjoying it. But there are also days you are struggling, you don't want to get up, you question yourself why you do this. In my 40 years of running, don't think that every day is like, yay, yay, yay. No. There are days where I just want to stay home and just watch TV and have a big breakfast. Those days happen. But when all that feelings are gone, I'll just put on my running shoes and go. And I think, when you start developing that love, that determination, it builds your character. And I think character will make a better person. And that's what happened, That's how running becomes a way of life. It's not anymore, I've always said this, running is not a sport. If you consider running a sport, running is a way of life. That's how you become who you are. That's how I've always seen it.
It's really a way of life. Wow. It's so beautifully the way you put it. I'm getting so much from this. Thank you for really answering it. I mean, from your heart and from your experience. Yeah. Does running make you feel unique as a person?
Well, you see, yes, it does. But also in so many ways, running is, I feel like we are no different from everybody else. I feel that the only difference that we are compared to anybody else is running. yes, but it doesn't mean that we are any different. We are all in the same category in life. We are all in the same boat where we want to go. The only difference is because running has become a tool to reach your goal. It has become as I put, like I mentioned, like a tool to reach your goal in life. So in that sort of way, that is our uniqueness, no? But we're all the same. It's only we have a tool running that makes us go a little bit more determined to succeed in life. That's the way I've seen it always.
Yeah. And when you said, well, these are the things that's running through my mind when you said we're all the same. It's just, it makes, I think one of your great qualities is just you're very grounded and you're very humble. I mean, for you to say that, when I ask this question to, I think to some people, I don't think they're gonna answer it that way. Yeah, but you just seem so grounded, and you do understand that, yeah, running or other sports are just, they're a great equalizer. It humbles us. It humbles all of us.
Humbles all of us.
Yeah. So what are the things you reflect about when you run? What?
Basically when I run, I just think about anything in life. I create the greatest ideas in my head. My mind goes crazy. It's the adrenaline going in your head, expanding on life, on where you want to be. What are you looking forward to the day? How do I make each day a better day? How do I make this day better than the day before? That's everything. It's a bombardment of positive, I would use the word positive reinforcement, just because I think, like I've also, when you run almost every day, or you've run a certain plateau, you start to have this endorphins going in your system. And that endorphins, that high, builds up in you. And that's basically it. I'm thinking already what to do for the day. How do I make things better? Not only for me, but for others. At work, family, my kids, etc. My parents. And that is basically what goes. Anything goes in the head. And I think the most important is I also learned to forgive. There are days where you are so mad, etc. And when you run, you reflect. You think, maybe it's not the person's fault, but maybe it's my fault. So you reflect. So that's where I think that's very important. It's a time for you. It's your time. It's a time to reflect. It's not always saying what they can give me, but it's what can I do for them. And that's what it makes you a better person. That's why running is very important.
Wow, cool. You answered the question so well. You're unbelievable, Patrick. Wow. So just going back to the endorphins that the happy hormones that you're feeling during or after the run, it just translates into other areas of your life, right? You mentioned that's when all the ideas come out. Okay, so it do translates to other areas of our lives. I do experience that sometimes, not in the same level as you experience it, because you're more consistent than me. But yeah, I do understand what you're saying. So your most memorable race was the Vancouver International Marathon. And is it still the most memorable?
Definitely. Most definitely. Yes.
And the second most memorable race was the Philippine Pasig Marathon.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, but you only run your second marathon after 24 years.
Yes, that's what happened.
Why did you only run your second marathon after? Sorry, I'm just being curious. Why only after 24 years?
Okay. Like I said, I started running in May 1980. Now, I ran my first marathon in May 5, 1983. This was the Vancouver International Marathon. And basically, I would say I was running with my heart. I was basically enjoying everything. It was a totally new experience to me. I was running with my heart. In fact, I was at a total high from the beginning of the race up to the end of the race. Fantastic. I was at total high. And in fact, I am not ashamed to admit it. Is when I crossed the finish line, I was crying. I was crying. I would call it tears of joy. Yeah. It is basically tears of joy. It is basically the fulfillment that I did something I wanted to, not for anybody else, but for me. I can say this is what, and I've always said this is what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And basically, so after the race, the Vancouver International Marathon, I did a few more races. I mean, just 10, 21, 16, but it took me about 23 years more to do my second marathon. That was the Pasig Marathon in 1983, I believe. I'm sorry, 2008. Yes. Yeah, that was my second marathon. Why it took that long? Frankly, I don't know also myself. I was doing 16-kilometer races, 10-kilometer, 21, but not the marathon, not the second marathon. Now, when I did my second marathon in Pasig, I won't deny that was a very bad experience for me. Oh. I was cramping all over. I basically was struggling to the finish line. It was a disaster. Now that I analyze it, I think the problem was I was overthinking. I was analyzing too much that I forgot the basic. The basic is to enjoy. I was thinking, baka, it's my time to slow. Am I running too fast? Am I drinking the right nutrition? So much analysis that you forget that, teka muna, step back and enjoy.
Yes.
And when you enjoy, that's when the beauty starts. So that's the story there.
Wow, that's really my biggest takeaway so far. I know you're gonna, give me more wonderful answers later on. I think the most common, like, let's say, attribute or mindset in terms of great runners, like Majo also mentioned about, she just enjoying the outdoors, the mountains, and now you are saying that, no, don't overthink. Remember why you're running. It is for you to enjoy the experience, enjoying the run, and just enjoying the race. That's my biggest takeaway here. Whenever I overthink, which I would not, I normally do, I will always remember your words and Maju's word. Wow. So I'm sorry, I'm going to go back to one of your answers. You said you can't help but cry when you first cross the finish line. Okay. Yes. And you also got a little bit emotional, right, during your second marathon. What makes you, well, by the way, I also did cry. Yes. I only run 3 marathons so far. I cried during my first and second, but during my third, for some reason, I didn't. I can't remember anymore why I didn't, but I still remember the feeling of, just complete satisfaction, just the joy that I achieved something great, Yes. And my question is, why do you feel so, or a bit emotional whenever you cross the finish line after a marathon?
I've always felt, to be really honest, I've always felt that I am, my joy, well, basically what I've always felt is like I am not as talented as compared to my siblings. While most of them have exceeded in business, in their positions and so on, I have basically been more of a help to them. But running has always been my forte. Running is my shield, as I call it. That's why I'm called the running shield. It has always been my shield that kept me protected and kept me strong. Every time I finish a race, I cry. I will not deny I would cry because the emotions of completing a race, the satisfaction, and it's a accomplishment in your heart. It is you that
Yes.
you accomplish it. Nobody helped you. It is you. And I think the greatest accomplishment is when you do it yourself, rather than everybody trying to tell you what to do.
Yes.
I can look at myself in the mirror and say, like, Pat, congratulations. And that's why that is basically what I mean by tears of joy, tears of happiness that I have accomplished a certain thing in life that I really want.
Yeah. And you know what? Crying is not really such a bad thing. We're just, being very in touch with our emotions. Some people may see it as a weakness, but some people may not. Especially me, I don't see it as a weakness at all. I actually, I mean, most of the strongest people I know, they do cry over
Yes.
movies, over just very meaningful conversations. So yeah, I do admire that you wrote that on your blog and you just openly tell people that this is how I felt when I crossed the finish line, because it sends the right message to men. Okay, not just to men but also to women, that men can feel emotional sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're just being vulnerable and open, and it actually invites or encourages more men not to not avoid expressing their feelings and emotions, right? So yeah, so that's how I thought of it. It's really a sign of strength, not weakness. Going back to Pasig Marathon, you mentioned earlier that it was at the beginning you thought it was a bad race. You were cramping, and it was just one of those days na it's not. Oh, this is not a good run. See, it happens sometimes, right? But at the end, when you were reflecting, you sort of thought na this is still a memorable experience. Well, in fact, you considered it as your second most memorable race in your running career. Um, because sometimes when we do experience like negative things, but it could still be a rich experience for us. I think that's my takeaway from what you said. And you did learn from that experience, and you reflected from it, and obviously it has turned you into a better person and stronger person than ever. Wow, I'm loving this conversation. Right. When you said just enjoy the race, yeah, and you've been mentioning this, you just enjoy the race, um, enjoy, remember why you're running, don't overthink. But what exactly do you mean when you say enjoy the race?
Basically, when I mean enjoy the race, it's basically that. Do not overthink. Don't worry so much about if you're going too fast or too slow, or if you miss that hydration table. I mean, don't worry about it so much. Just stay focused. If there's a runner who comes to pace with you, just talk to them. I mean, just basically enjoy. Don't overthink. Once you overthink, that's when your fall will happen. That's when you keep on thinking, looking at your watch, checking your this and that. That's when you'll fail it. It's just make your energy flow.
Yes,
Just
flow.
smile. Just smile, and you will notice you will get your energy will build up, and you get the same energy from the people around you, and
Oh,
that you will stay focused and cross that finish line regardless if it's a 10, 21, or 42-kilometer race. Finish that race with feeling very happy. That's basically what I mean. Enjoy the race, have fun, and don't overthink. That's it.
wow. So, sir, I'm gonna start quoting you on some of the things that you wrote on your blog. Okay, I'll start with just you being so simple and just enjoying the moment whenever you race. So I'm gonna quote you. You said, "I was never really into throwing parties." or big celebrations. Okay, but during your birthday week, you usually sign up for a race. You sometimes
Yes.
go out of town, you take quick trip abroad, a chance to take some time off, find some
Yes.
solitude, and hopefully a give up perfect run, right? Is more of your thing. You seem to draw genuine happiness and satisfaction from the most simple things. Has running something to do with that, or it's just always been your preference?
Um, Basically, I am a little bit or of an introvert. I don't like big parties. I don't like staying up late at night. I don't like having. I don't have so much friends. I just have a very few friends, and I like it that way. Um, when it's about to be my birthday or my birthday week, I plan something. Go out of town, run in the mountains. If my birthday so happens to fall on a weekend, I look for a race. That is my joy. I'm not into parties. I'm not. Uh, I like it simple. I just like simple. Go to mass, be with my kids. That's all I really want to do. Simple life is simple joy. Too much burlola, it just makes things complicated. You know, that makes it so
Yeah.
complicated. Just
Yes,
enjoy it.
yeah. Speaking of, I posted a quote from Kipchoge about keeping things simple because as soon as you make
Really
it complicated, you lose focus. I think that's
correct.
you're really
Correct.
coming from from that perspective as well. Wow, see the commonalities. I mean the common characteristics and mindset among runners. Yeah. Has running taught you to become more positive and optimistic in general?
Yes. Uh, in running and like life, you can't always get what you want. Like I said, regardless business, family, etc., you always have a goal, but sometimes you don't get it. Like running, you have a goal, you want to get the best time, etc., but sometimes it doesn't happen. Now, it doesn't mean that because you don't get it, is you should give up. I think when there are bad days, when there are struggles, and there are letdowns in life, I believe is you should use that as an example, a learning experience to grow
Mm.
up. Um, I always refer back to running because, like I said, in my 40 years of running, there are good days and there are bad days. I'm very grateful to God for the good days, but for the bad days, I'm still very grateful because
Wow.
I've learned from that. I think it's the bad experience that you learn more than the good experience,
Wow, yes,
and
yes,
it builds your character. It makes you a better person. It
yes.
makes you move forward and enjoy life. That's what I
Wow.
think it is.
Wow, I'm having so much goosebumps. Wow, this is really worthwhile. I am very thankful and grateful that you accepted my invitation. Wow. So I'm just amazed how consistent you are. Like what we were talking about before I started recording this, I noticed that you kept running during the pandemic, and you just really excuse is that in your vocabulary. Well, needless to say, you're consistent. Period. You are. But how? Can you give us tips or like I don't know techniques that you use? Can you give us some of your tips and suggestions on how we can all stay as consistent as you are?
Um, okay, I'll just give during the pandemic. The pandemic basically started in March 17 on my birthday. That's the thing. Now, of course, like everybody else, I was worried. How can I run outside, etc. That was all of those was bothering me. How do I stay consistent, etc. Um, kung gusto mo talagang gumawa ng paraan, gagawa ka ng paraan eh. That's the way I see that. See, why was I running during the pandemic? Is because I love running. Just simple that. It's like when you have a child or you're married. regardless of what happens, hindi ba gagawa ka ng paraan? So that's the way I've seen it. I ran on rooftops. I was running in parking lots. I would run inside and outside the office. I won't deny there were a few times I snuck out on the road. Just, you make that one round around the block or one round around Ayala Triangle at 5 in the morning before the policeman sees me. I won't deny that. I mean, I'm sure everybody, I think you also did the same thing.
Yeah, we bump into each other in one of your...
I mean, that's the way I see it. If it's something that you love, no excuses. Gagawa ka ng paraan. You'll always find a way. That's what my first love is running. That keeps me grounded. That keeps me happy. That keeps me stable. That keeps me not too high and not too low. So I enjoy it. I love it. So I'll do anything for it.
Wow.
And that's how you stay consistent. And that's what I want to tell everybody. Just do what you love. And everything will fall into place.
So one of your great qualities, you have so many great qualities, but I picked up this one as a person, is that you are emotionally resilient. You are not easily overcome by fear or disappointment, as you mentioned earlier during your second marathon in Pasig. To which factors do you attribute this kind of attitude and mindset? How did you develop this kind of emotional resiliency?
Well, I would say I had a great teacher, my father. I've seen him, how he worked very hard in spite of when we had some problems in the economy and so on. He never lost hope. He was always focused. And that's the way I see it, Like I said, there are bad days, but you have to stay focused. You have to stay grounded. You cannot hide under a rock and just sleep it away. No, you have to face it. Talk to people, face it, and understand. And of course, the number one is don't forget to pray to God. I'm not religious, but always, I believe, talk to Him. Maybe I'd like to share with you something that in the first few years of my running life, I would say the rosary while I would do my runs. Now, I would carry these beads. I would do that. Sometimes I still do that. But I believe talking to God, asking Him His advice, and He'll answer your prayers. And that's what I mean by that's how you stay resilient. That's how you have to face things. If you can't do it, ask for help from the guy above. That's the way I've seen it.
Wow. So you also see running as a form of prayer and meditation. Yes. That's why you're just so consistent, and it is really your way of life.